Morning, everybody. This is Jim Feist in Las Vegas. I just wanted to tell you to go to our website, jimfeist.com, and sign up for a free play. Just text play to 1-877-537-7716. That's 877-537-7716, and text the word play, and you get a free play each and every day. You can also do that by going to the website, jimfeist.com. Coming off a great weekend, swept the board in college on Saturday, swept the board in the pros on Sunday. We're looking for a big week. College football is coming up. We got the baseball playoffs starting Tuesday and Wednesday in the wild cards. We got plays on each of those games. And of course, we'll be back with Thursday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, as usual. So we're doing our homework out here. We're having a great season. And hold on, I'm going to get Hank on the phone. Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist here with Hank Goldberg. Hank, how are you today?
Well, yesterday was a tough day, although last night worked out well for me. Excuse me. I thought that I was not surprised by the Dallas outcome. That defense of the Saints was excellent.
Whew.
Bridgewater did just enough, and he's now 19-12 as a starter, and New Orleans is in pretty good shape. They've got winnable games until Breeze comes back, and they've got enough skilled position guys on offense, but their defense is playing extremely well right now.
Yeah,
they've got good defensive front, and as I said on the show the other day, they had a key stat at 37% pass rushing number held up against Dallas's offensive line, and they gave Dallas a tough time offensively, and of course now Dallas goes home, and they should get a turnaround quickly. But they never have played well there in the past. But as I said on the show, I was right about this. I said that they were talking about fantasy before they came to me. I said the fantasy is that there's going to be a bunch of unbeaten teams at the end of the weekend, and there are only 3 left, just like that.
Yeah, that's true. What did you ask your opinion? Did you watch the Cleveland Ravens game?
I did not. They didn't have the game where I could. I was watching 5 games at once, and I didn't watch much of that one. Talking about Cleveland and the Ravens.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was really shocked at how poorly Lamar Jackson played in that game. And
I was not. I have said this right along, that he beat up on some bad teams early, and then he didn't play that well the week before against Kansas City. And when he plays against the good teams, he's not ready. He's not a great guy when he has to throw the ball, and he threw a couple of picks at bad times, and that's him. And I don't think he's quite the player that everybody thinks he is, and I've been saying this right along. And that was one game that I left alone because I didn't like them as a big favorite in the game, and I'm not a Jackson guy yet. I think of all the young quarterbacks, he's the least guy I would rely on when he has to get, when he has to drop back and just throw the ball. He's not that accurate, and the first 2 games he was playing against 2 bad teams, and when he has to play against a good team, he did not play well against Kansas City until they were far behind, and Kansas City went into a prevent. But he just he's going to be up and down, and I think you're going to find that all year with him.
Speaking of Kansas City, they had a tough time yesterday with the Lions. The Lions are playing very well this year.
Yeah, they are. Kansas City won, though. And they've got, as long as they've got Mahomes, they're going to be tough. And, the interesting conversation now is how far they can go and will they get the home field advantage. And, they played better than New England did yesterday. Brady showed his age, but their defense carried him, and New England didn't cover either against Buffalo, but they did stifle the Buffalo quarterback, as I said they would. All they had to do was put a spy on him, and they'd stop him, and then, of course, they knocked him out of the game, too. In Minnesota, that quarterback,
wow,
they've got problems. I mean, he is now 1-11
wow,
against teams that have winning records.
Yeah, that is becoming very obvious. He just does not step up. And you know what? When they lost Trubisky, they became a better team because Chase Daniel knows how to manage a game. He's always been a very consistent backup guy. And he's dependable. He's very smart. And that
was the best thing that could have happened with Trubisky out of there. They had a chance to move the ball. But the other thing is, with Minnesota, they became one-dimensional because of their quarterback, and all the Bears had to do was stop the running game, which they did. They just ganged up on them, and they stopped them. And without that running game, the Vikings don't have any offense. And one of the wide receivers really ripped their offense and said, you got to be able to throw the ball in this league, and if you can't throw the ball, you can't win.
Oh, which wide receiver said that? Do you know?
One of the two top receivers.
That's interesting. Wow. Now, this week, the Bears are going to play the Raiders in London. And there's quite a few of these international games coming up. Got, I think, a couple in London and in Mexico also, and that's always an interesting handicapping dilemma. The Raiders shocked me yesterday. I didn't play the game either way, but I was really.
I liked Indianapolis in the game because the Raiders were really beat up, and I thought that I was surprised at how poorly Brissett played. He was really off his game, and he couldn't complete passes at all.
No, he looked really bad.
And Mack was okay, but when they had to throw the ball, he played a terrible game. And the Raiders, moved the ball against the Indianapolis defense. And to be honest with you, Gruden has been doing a heck of a job with that team. He's coaching them well. He came out and then on those scripted plays at the beginning of the game, they moved the ball right down the field on the Indianapolis defense on their field. And here's the Raiders coming in there with the worst road record in the game over the last 3 years. And all of a sudden they're, a road machine against a team that have been playing pretty well. And all of a sudden you're looking at the Colts and saying, boy, they really needed luck.
That was the worst game I've seen Brissett play. I was quite shocked by that, the whole game. I mean, I was wrong about the Raiders. I was wrong about the Colts. Like I said, I didn't bet the game. I didn't like the line, but I was really, really surprised at the way that. And the other game, you and I have not been big fans of the head coach at Houston. And boy, I'm going to tell you something. They need to do something down there. I
left that game alone, but I didn't think that. I didn't think that Carolina would do that well offensively, and they didn't. but Houston's offense was terrible, and the coach did a horrible job in that game. And this was a game that was winnable for them, and they just. I won money on that game because I had the under, and remember I told you on Friday that there were a half of games that could go under, and they did.
Yep, a lot of them went. We had about what was it? A little bit edge to the under, I think, for the week, wasn't it? I think.
Well, I said there were half a dozen games that could go under, and I think they all did.
It was a good. You were right. You were 100% right. Well, I don't know that Houston's ever going to go anywhere with that head coach. I just have not been high on him for a while. The quarterback is very talented and very smart, and we got 117 yards in the game. I mean, that's absolutely incredible. But I got to give a little bit of that credit to the defense for the Panthers, who are starting to look very good now. That it's funny. Trubisky out for the Bears, and they look better with Daniels. Newton out for the Panthers, and they look better with Allen. And Eli is sitting for the Giants, and they're looking better with their young guy. So it's some of the changes have actually worked out for these teams.
Well, we'll see how good the young guy is for the Giants, because I think they have Minnesota this week, and then the week after that they've got New England. So he's going to be in for a struggle.
Well, he is.
He did well against the bad teams.
Well, yeah, it's easier.
I'll tell you, the big surprise of the week was the Rams.
Woo! They look bad. Wow.
And I'm telling you, that coach is overrated. And I said that. I've been saying that right along. I don't like the way he coaches. I think he's been living on reputation. And the quarterback played a terrible game against a pretty bad defense. But the thing is, with the Rams defense, getting shoved around by Tampa Bay, and all of a sudden the Tampa Bay quarterback came to life and really beat up on him.
Well, I think Bruce Arians...
And this is a classic case of them taking that team lightly.
Well, yes. We also have to give a little credit to Bruce Arians. He's done a pretty good job down there. They've looked good at a couple spots this year. They're a little bit dangerous now.
Well, the week before they lost to the Giants.
They had an 18-point lead in that game, blew the lead, and then missed a kick. Yes, they did lose. They are still developing, but they're better than they have been in previous years before Arians got there. So I think there's an upside with him as a head coach. He is a good head coach. He's a
good coach.
Yeah. We got a game tonight. We've got two teams that haven't found a way to win yet. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. It's a division rivalry. You got Andy Dalton, who's been around a long time, against Mason Rudolph. I don't know. This is a tough game. A lot of people are out. A lot of injuries. Pittsburgh in the offseason lost some players. Then they lost Big Ben. Both of these teams are struggling. I don't know if either one of these teams are going to win 4 or 5 games in the whole year.
Well, Pittsburgh is healthy now, reasonably so, except for the quarterback. But Rudolph can play, and he's going against the Cincinnati team who coughed the ball up twice against Buffalo last week. And Pittsburgh had 5 turnovers against San Francisco in their game. And they're home, and it's a desperate situation for them. And Rudolph, I think, could have a breakout game against Cincinnati's defense. Cincinnati's running game is in trouble. And the coach is thinking about making a change at quarterback. So there's a lot of pressure on Dalton.
Hank, before we get off, we have to bring up the name Gardner Minshew. This guy has come out of nowhere. I mean, I know he was good in Washington State, but he is playing extremely well.
Well, he wasn't having a very good game until the fourth quarter, and then he engineered that winning drive against the Denver defense. That game, was in Denver's pocket at the time because actually Flacco had played pretty well against a good Jacksonville defense, and he had put his team ahead. And they couldn't stop Minshew, who brought the team right downfield. And I was a little miffed at the Denver defense because they went into a soft defense. I couldn't believe that. All they had to do was try to put pressure on the guy, and they didn't. He had lots of time to throw the ball, and he had guys wide open underneath, and he just took advantage of it. And that's how they won that game. I watched that game, and I was kind of surprised at that. And I think the Denver coaching job right now has to be questioned a little bit, particularly since Flacco, was on his game.
Yeah,
against a good defense.
He didn't play badly. They've lost a couple games that they could have won. They've been running in some bad luck this year. Vic Fangio has not had a win yet, and boy, I'll tell you, that's as a defensive coordinator, you would expect more from him, but it just hasn't worked out yet for them. They have a big game this week. They go to the Chargers, who beat Miami. And Chargers will be at their home park, if you can call it that. But that's a game this week that could be interesting to watch. We have baseball starting tomorrow. We've got Milwaukee at Washington, and then on Wednesday we have another wild card. We got this is a big week for us.
Well, Washington has been playing great, getting really good pitching. And Milwaukee has got some injury problems. And I know you said the other day that they have a winning record, but when they get into the playoffs, you want to be at full strength. And Milwaukee right now is a very hot team, and I've been riding Milwaukee actually, or Washington. And that pitching staff that they have there is really good.
The pitching staff that Washington has, I mean, if the right things fell for them, and they have such quality pitchers, they could go an awful long way. They could surprise a lot of people. Those guys are unbelievably good. If they're on, they're dangerous, really dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, Hank, thank you. We'll touch base again on Wednesday and have a good couple days.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the baseball playoffs.
Oh, and, so am I. I'm excited about it.
And tonight is what I gave out as my best bet of the week. I had my prime time triple on ESPN, and so I'm 1-1 in those games because I lost the first one. So hopefully I can get this one and wind up 2-1. On ESPN this week, which will be good since I'd be coming off a 3-3 week. They'd be happy.
Well, good luck in that, and we'll talk to you again Wednesday, Hank.
Okay, Jim.
Bye-bye.
All the best.
Bye-bye. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. I'm going to be doing all my work. I might do a podcast later if I see some things to talk about. But have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. We're on I think we're 28-9 in the NFL right now. We're on a knock on wood, a great streak. And matter of fact, Saturday we swept the board also. So absolutely, this has been really a good run, and we hope to keep it going. Thanks for listening.